Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now in this video, we're going to answer a question that I get asked quite a lot by people, and that is, should you invest in houses or flats? And that's going to make a lot more sense by the end of this video. So while you're here, make sure you smash that subscribe button over there and hit the bell notification, and also hit that like button over there, guys. Now I'm just in the south of France. We've been here for a week with Georgia, Amelie, some other friends and family. We've had this beautiful place here. And we've rented that on a serviced accommodation basis on Airbnb, basically. And it was really good fun. So we had a great time here. So I wanted to make a video about houses versus flats. Now, I've been investing since 1999. And I was 18 back then when I got my first property. And I have both houses and flats, and there are pros and cons on both, but there is one that I would ultimately pick every single time going forward if I had that option. So what one would I pick? Well, let's cut to the chase. It's houses. So I own flats, and I've got flats all around the country, mostly in Surrey actually, one in London. But what I find with flats is I like to be in control, if I'm honest. So if there's a maintenance task that needs to be done, I like it that I can deal with it. I can pick the contractor and I can get that work done. Whereas in a flat, you don't have that option. So I have my first property that I bought, which you can actually see there's a tour way back when, about 400 videos back. So just look at the early videos on the channel. You can see when we were refurbing this property. I bought this property in 1999. 2003, I went backpacking. So I had a whole year where I was traveling around Southeast Asia, went to Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, all those wonderful places, then Australia, New Zealand and America. And so I was away for a year. I'd saved up working in recruitment. I also worked in Burger King on the weekends, and I saved up as much money as I could to be able to backpack for 1 year and not have to do anything, right? That was my goal, basically, to just enjoy myself. Now, in that trip, fairly early on, I got an email from the management company because they weren't able to get a letter to me. And they were saying that basically the roof needed fixing. And I think it was around £7,000 was my share of the bill, which was crazy. There was 5 flats in this property, £7,000, and I had 7 days to pay it. So this is 20 years ago. I was asked for £7,000 with 7 days. I never even had that kind of money in my life at that stage. Never, ever, ever had that as savings. And I was traveling. Right, I was living in Thailand on around £10 a day. So that was really frustrating. We butted heads. I was able to drag it out for a year, fortunately. I just said, look, I don't agree with this. They did the work. I couldn't stop that happening. But I did as much as I could to delay that. So when I got back to England, I got a job and I had to pay that down, right? I think I did it on a credit card. And then when I did a refinance of the property, I paid off that credit card at a later date. So that was a frustrating thing that I had there. I've got a property that had a short lease on it, and that was purchased with a short lease. And we're dealing with that and looking to extend it. We were going to extend it, but then there's the Leasehold Reform Act coming through. So we're delaying that. We're doing a remortgage, taking out some equity and buying some extra deals with that. But all of these things like leaseholds and all of these things get really, really frustrating. Often with a flat, you'll have like meetings on a annual basis. I have one flat where they want to have a meeting on a quarterly basis, and it's only got 3 flats in the block. It's totally unnecessary, but that's just what is on that. And so I just found hassle with flats. However, it's not all bad news with flats. So what are the pros with having a flat? Well, the pros are that it's cheaper to get into, right? Way cheaper to get into a flat than it is to get into a house in the same town. That's a pro. One is that you'll have shared costs. So if the roof does go down, you're sharing that with a number of people. Now, if you're in a huge block, you can get flats with 100 people in it. That means that the cost of the roof is really going to be a lot more affordable than if you're in a tiny little flat with 2 or 3 people, right? So that makes a difference there. And so that's a pro as well. Also, flats rent very, very fast, really, really fast. You'll rent a flat in a week because lots of people are looking at the lower end of the market. So that's flats. Houses, very different. Houses are generally freehold. You can get a leasehold. Katie, my partner, actually lives in a leasehold house. I didn't even know that that was what she had until I went to an AGM meeting. And so she has a leasehold house, but the majority of houses in the UK are a freehold house. That means you own the land underneath it. Now, often with houses, the value goes up faster. So we did a video yesterday that you'll have seen where we talked about house prices are down annually 1% now, but actually houses are up. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have a house, particularly a detached house, because there's so few of them. People want to get hold of that. So that's a good thing, isn't it? Having that house, being able to, you decide when the work is done, you're totally responsible on if you want to add an extension, you can go with permitted development. All of these things make a big, big difference. If you want to add a bedroom into a house, you don't have to ask anyone's permission. Whereas with a flat, you do need to ask the leaseholder's permission, the freeholder's permission, and often they'll say no because they don't want building work and stuff like that. So that's another downside of flats. Houses are more expensive to get into, so that's a negative, isn't it? Like they're obviously you're going to pay a bigger deposit, but overall with my investment strategy now, I'm just looking for houses. I think houses are way better. The risks are there. Like obviously if a boiler can break in a flat, it can break in a house. You've got a roof and you're primarily responsible for that one roof, but I just think the capital appreciation that you get, the higher rent that you get, everything just seems to be easier with houses. The fact that you're probably more likely to get a higher quality of tenant. You might get a family in there that will live there for years and years and years. This is another reason why I think houses are better. So all of the bad side with the flats is things like leaseholds, leasehold extensions, disputes with other people in the block, the fact that you don't have a control. If they want to spend a load of money doing a load of building work, if they want to paint all the corridors and you think they're fine, you have no choice on that. It is just going to be done. So I would suggest, if you can, look at houses. Now, you might watch this and say, I can't afford a house. Look up north. There are plenty of houses up north that are really, really affordable. I bought one for £60,000 for my daughter, Georgia. We've renovated that. We got it revalued at 100. There are even cheaper properties because the market's on the downward turn right now. So there are loads of opportunities up north and you can buy houses very, very affordably. You need to look at the right areas. A few videos back, I made a video on what is the right areas that you should be looking at to buy those houses. So go and have a look at that one. But let me know your thoughts. Do you invest in houses or flats? Or what do you think? If you haven't invested, what would you like to try? Would you like to try investing in houses or flats? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to have a beer. But if you haven't joined us already, terrible cheap beer in France, but it's all right. Haven't joined us in the Property Accelerator yet. That gives you access to all of my training programs. Buy, refurbish, refinance, rent, serviced accommodation, all of these strategies, and you can trial it for £1. It's just £1 to give it a whirl, see what you think. Hopefully you'll stick around. So I'm going to pin a comment below where you can do that, and I'll put it in the description as well. But give it a whirl. Like, what have you got to lose? You might learn some new property investment strategies. You're going to get mentoring from me every 2 weeks. I'm going to do a live call, a Zoom. You can jump on, ask me your questions about how to grow a property portfolio and how I've done that too. And we'll help you along the way. The community will help you along the way. So go and give us a try on the Property Accelerator. And while you're here, like the video, subscribe, check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.